My project is tentatively titled Circuits of Desire, Neuroimaging, Evolutionary Femininity, and Therapeutic Learning. So I'm looking at the kind of production of femininity and feminine desire in different historical moments, but definitely focusing specifically on like our current moment in which technologies of neuroscience, different therapeutic techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy, and also the discourses of evolutionary psychology are very much being used to kind of frame feminine desire. And I'm arguing that they're being used to frame it kind of paradoxically as very different or kind of polarly opposite of masculine desire. And I say that that's paradoxical or contradictory because it seems like with the kinds of science that we have available to us now that focuses on plasticity and like the malleability of the brain, of the self, that we wouldn't be tethered to this kind of like dichotomous framing. But I think we're still kind of seeing that. So, well, for the paper for here, which I'm hoping will be a chapter of my dissertation, probably like an introductory chapter, I'm looking at different desire disorders as they've appeared in the DSM and just in kind of psychological medical discourse in the last, say, like 100 years or so. But I'm focusing primarily on the last 30 years, and so the different constructions that have been in the DSM, and now the kind of current debate over what will be in the new DSM and the DSM-5 that's being published in 2013. Currently, the disorder for women who have low desire is called hypoactive sexual desire disorder, and it's shifting. The likely new incarnation will be sexual interest/arousal disorder. So I'm looking at kind of what that linguistic shift signifies. It will be a female-specific diagnosis, which I think is important, and it will. The criteria, and I think that the language itself highlights the notion of feminine receptivity, which is the notion that women are kind of naturally less spontaneous with their desire than men, and that they kind of that their desire needs to be like awoken by an initiating force. So I'm looking at this kind of new construction and people who are on the DSM working groups for desire disorders alongside evolutionary psychology discourse that kind of says the same types of things about women and their desire. And I have done some interviews with women. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. And well, it's interesting kind of what they say about these ideas. And one thing that has come up a lot is this notion that, I being a woman I'm interviewing, I haven't had my desire awoken yet because I haven't met the right partner who would be the father of my children. So it's this very interesting, like, procreative kind of thing alongside the receptivity. So I actually think that, like, evolutionary psychology is, like, so deeply embedded in, like, our cultural discourse, specifically through, like, science that, comes into that discourse and is part of that discourse, that it's become, like, a practice. Like, it's actually being practiced sexually. And I think that what goes into the DSM-5 is really important, because it has... it has a wide breadth of, areas that it touches, like geopolitically, like globally. So it will be important in terms of like framing a variety of different psychiatric and psychological disorders and the continued kind of pathologization of like certain ideas about difference. And I think it's important because also, in all of this discourse, one of the technologies that's being used really often is neuroscience. Like, and I say that it's a technology broadly, but also like the specific kinds of things like PET and fMRI are being increasingly used. So I just think that as these kinds of technologies become more pervasive and really permeate a lot of different places and spaces, kind of like within our kind of cultural thinking, but also like around the world, it's important to kind of see how they're being used and kind of what stories they're being used to tell.